You know, it was a long time coming, actually. Obviously, I haven't scored since, I don't know when it was, the West Ham game at the back end of last season. So, you know, it was just nice to get off the mark for this season and to do it so early and obviously get the 3 points. You know, a difficult place to come against a top team as well. You know, I think they are so underrated, this Wolves team, and they're showing it at points in the second half, so it's a great result for us.
There's been a lot of questions around you this week. Do you think you've answered them today?
Yeah, no, I think I'm rightly so. You know, I should be scoring more, I should be getting more assists. But yeah, you know, the only thing I can do is obviously score and get assists. You know, obviously I'm always going to have people talking about me, you know, with the amount I got bought for. But I think if you look at my whole career, I probably haven't scored as much as certain people, you know. Even when I was at Aston Villa, I think I only scored 14 or 15 goals over the 2 seasons in the Premier League. But yeah, you know, it's something that I do want to add to my game and you know, playing with this team and in front of these fans, hopefully I can.
Only took 55 seconds. It was a dream start. Was
that what it was? Yeah. Yeah, no, it was perfect. And, you know, I'm always having a laugh with Kev, saying to him, you know, about assisting me. I says, come on, you're meant to be the best assister in the world. So, you know, luckily he come up to me today and says, there we go. So finally, yeah.
And also, when you are being criticised and people are asking questions, it must give you a great boost when you see Pep Guardiola coming out in your defence.
Yeah, no, obviously it's nice, you know. You know, he's been brilliant with me, and you know what? I actually probably have to thank him because, you know, he gave me the opportunity today after my performance on Wednesday. It weren't the best at all, so thankful for him, and hopefully I repaid him.
Well done, Jack. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
See ya.
A happy Jack Grealish there. Frustrating night for him in midweek against Dortmund, but he's delivered on the pitch today with his first goal of the season in that 3-0 victory for Manchester City. The league table. Rachel, just how comfortable was it for them?
Well, they looked in cruise control at times, and obviously getting the opening goal so early on could have put Wolves on the back foot, but kind of credit to Wolves, they didn't stop. Even when they went down to 10 players, they didn't stop with their beliefs in what could be a successful game plan. But ultimately, Manchester City are built on last season. You know, they won it last season. Their team is bigger and stronger, has more depth than last season, and they just look like they're going to do the league and get it kind of boxed off. 3/4 of the way through the season? Who knows? I mean, they're looking that good.
Yeah, it's as Rio said, feeling very ominous for everyone else. How will Wolves then, Jolien, feel about that result, given that they went down to 10 men after 33 minutes?
Yeah, I think the overall result would have been expected to a certain extent. They knew it was going to be difficult. Man City are in fine form, so comfortable. But I don't think they helped themselves. I think the sending off slightly helped their tactics. I think they played a little more restricted and less open, because before that I thought they were so open. They went into the game with a mindset of, we can actually win this game early on, instead of, as we spoke about, Dortmund's approach of being conservative, being compact, restrictive, and all of a sudden they're so open, and then within, 55 seconds, they're 1-0 down.
Everything changed, didn't it? Well, let's get some instant reaction from the City camp, because Pep Guardiola is with Des.
Excellent win. What did you make of the performance?
Well, the game started really well for us, for this goal, for the second after red card, and after Champions League 12:30 come here against this team with the quality they have with Neves, Moutinho, Neto, Guedes, Podense. So they have the quality to keep the ball. The transition are so fast. So yeah, it was an incredible victory. The first 50-20 minutes, and the second half, until we didn't score the third goal from Phil, we struggled a lot. We could not take the ball, and big compliment for the Wolves for fight until the end. But of course, for us, is before the international break and being on top, and it was so important.
You talked about Jack Grealish earlier, and you gave a ringing endorsement of the player. You said it would just be a question of time before he started to come on. It took 55 seconds for you to be right.
No.
He had a good game.
Yeah, he played really good and strong, and he make a good goal arriving there, and he's a guy who doesn't lose the balls, and yeah, a good performance for him. So hopefully he can continue in the national team and come back fit.
And you were talking about Kevin De Bruyne, Phil Foden, getting around him, giving him help. Did you see that today?
Yes, he got to arrive, and yeah. So in moments we were good, and other ones we struggled a little bit, but I give credit for the opponent, not because we were wrong.
Everyone disappearing now on international duty. Just keep your fingers crossed. Is that right?
Yeah, the managers disappear too, not just the players. Yeah, finger crossed, come back fit. Of course, national league is important for them, for the convince the manager for the World Cup selection. So I understand how important it is for all of them. But yeah, hopefully they come back good and start ready for the derby.
Going off onto an international break to end on a high with your club with the win.
That was always part of the conversation leading up to that last game. It was always get this result so we can go away and can breathe easier. I mean, they could be potentially top of the league going into that break, so it's very important for them. And again, momentum is key. Yes, it stopped a little bit for the international period, but then coming back into it, you want to be coming back into a confident squad.
No, they started as they meant to go on today. Their first attack they scored with, and Kevin De Bruyne, as he so often has, Rachel, was absolutely integral to that goal. Yeah, and player of the match, and he put his mark on it from early doors, didn't he, De Bruyne? And you circle him here, he just finds himself in that space between the back line and the midfield, drifts into it, but this lovely little bit of interchange between him and Foden. One touch, everything, and then it's the desire, isn't it, of Grealish to get goal side, to get ahead of his marker and finish it. That was putting the mark on the game early on.
Yeah. Again, similar in regards to the third goal. He recognises where the space is. As soon as players get wide, he makes the overlapping run. He makes it look so simple, but he's so efficient with it. And when he does get in them areas, he tends to pick out the right person.
The overlapping run as well, it's an unselfish run because 50% of the time probably you don't get the ball. You're a decoy. But he's obviously earned the right now that if when he makes that run, you give him the ball because invariably the ball ends up on the plate for the striker.
Another thing I saw, Lind, at one point he really rallied his team, got everyone, was giving him a real kind of like talking to. He wasn't happy, so he's wearing an armband, but he's living up to what the standards that Manchester City have set. He's really kind of that catalyst for them, both from a playing perspective, but as a voice as well. Because he was a real talisman for them in the run-in last season, wasn't he, Jolien? Is there a better player, do you think, out there for continuity?
No. I think someone that plays at their maximum capacity week in, week out. I think that's what separates him. I think we've seen flashes of his brilliance with other players, but not as consistent every week. And it's funny that we're speaking about Haaland so much, but he sets the standard. Like, we haven't spoken about him before the game, now we're speaking about him now, but in regards to his performance, it's just expected. And that is a credit to him. You can't take that for granted because the levels he's playing at are remarkable. And
the point Rachel was making there is important. They were going through a bit of a sticky spell in the middle of the second half where Wolves were starting to get a foothold in the game. He was screaming, he was livid about the distance between the forwards and the back line. He was telling Diaz, get him up, get him up. And I remember, that's what I used to have. As defenders, you get told by the attackers always, get up the pitch because you're being lazy. But you need someone in there to lead that conversation, and he seems to be that guy now.
The real leader. He just feels like he's been a standout player in England in the Premier League for so long now, doesn't it? Those numbers with assists, 125 in all competitions for Manchester City and 92 assists in the Premier League now. Yeah, well, it seems like he has because he has. Simple as that. And I think since the era of Vincent Kompany being that leader at the back, City have somewhat been sort of seeking out who that next leader is, and he's firmly, got the armband. Completely leads by example, to be a bit cliche, but he's driving the standards for him personally. You don't hear anything about him off the pitch other than positive things. And he goes out there and he keeps kind of pushing on for this team, for him to be the focal point, but not in a selfish way. For him to kind of be that one to take the reins, to own the game, to take responsibility, to keep driving this team to be better. Let's look at that first goal again then, Rio. What was key for Jack Grealish getting that first goal of the season?
Well, I think all the conversation in the media before this game was about stats and about a lack of assists and goals, which Jack politely told us that he agreed with. He expects to score more goals. And that's what's one of the lovable things about Jack. He's very honest about his performance. But if I stop it here, Jack's at the top of your screen there. And for wide players watching, a lot of wide players will just ghost into here and just chill and just kind of just amble into these positions. That's not where you get your goals. I'll let it play on here, the good interplay between the two wide players. But look where Jack is now. He's fighting already now. You can see his arms across the defender. He's there. That's what he wants. And you're not going to get goals unless you get in these areas here. And I'll play it on a little bit slow as the ball comes across. He scores the goal. There he takes the contact. That's where a lot of wide players stand there.
That's where Jack would have been.
And that's where Jack would be, yeah.
Last season, he wasn't in there enough. I think he's took it upon himself to be in there, take the responsibility of being the man to score rather than allowing someone else to take the light away from him. But it was a perfect goal, and that wasn't an easy finish either. We've seen it, like you've seen the replays, and you're looking at it, you're thinking it's a tight finish that to the front post. But credit to Jack to be selfish enough to be the man. And take it upon himself to get into the front post.
But I think it's up to him mentally before every game now and in training to be going in there and going, I want to get goals. I want to get assists. I want to impact this game. And then that forces you actually...
to be more selfish then?
Selfish, yeah. I think in open play, I understand it. He's got to hold his position and stay wide because the system overrides individuals with Pep very much. But as soon as the ball gets into areas like certain players are on the ball that are going to deliver, Cancelo now, Foden, De Bruyne, get in areas where you can affect the game and score. Because, again, you are, unfortunately, in the way the game is today, it's very much data and stat-driven. And it's going further and further that way, and you don't want to get left behind.
There was a lot of criticism after Wednesday. It was a frustrating night, and then more criticism followed. A lot of people saying he shouldn't have been in that England squad. How important do you think it was that Pep Guardiola came out and said, you know, I'm backing him here, and he's the only one in that game making the aggressive runs, and it's not his fault that his mates aren't in the middle there for him.
I think it was really important for Guardiola to come out and do that because, you know, he's got a team full of superstars and he's got to manage their egos, whether it's give them a little lift up or pat them down a little bit at times. But he knows that the expectation on Jack Grealish individually when he came at such a price tag, that, you know, that people were going to be expecting miracles from him. And I think it was the right thing to do from Guardiola, knowing that, you know, he's at the kind of in the infancy period of becoming an England player, Jack Grealish, that he can become the main man almost for England. He's got everything special about him. He's starting to add goals to his game. He said that he wants to do more, and I don't think he could be a better school than Manchester City, playing with the players that he's playing with, learning from them and developing himself as an individual.
You talked on Wednesday about him playing as an 8, and that perhaps is how you get the best out of him.
I like him there. To see him in that sense, where he picked it up when he was at Villa, it's very different here. There's a structure he has to kind of play within here. But I see maybe in time he could end up falling back there in an 8 position for City. But it was what some of the points that Pep made in the article that you're talking about. He said, listen, do the media like us and fans, etc., know what I want you to do. You're doing what I want you to do. You might not be getting the goals.
Or the plaudits.
Yeah, or the plaudits. It's what you're doing for the team and what I've brought you here to do. Like you said earlier, I wasn't a scorer of a lot of goals every season anyway. So they haven't bought him because they've seen that he scores loads of goals. They've seen because he has a certain impact on the game, and they've tried to get that and transfer that here to Man City.
But if he has to adapt to be more that wide danger man, like more giving them more what they got from Sterling, what more do they need from him? It's kind of Foden setting the benchmark.
Yeah, of course. Well, Phil's obviously lucky enough to be able to play multiple positions and affect the game in that way. But in regards to him and Raheem, Raheem was affecting the game by his goals and his impact of his pace, where Jack obviously travels with the ball probably more than Raheem. And also, like we have said, he plays inside like his best clips then when we're looking. He was inside, he was running at players and midfielders, and if you put him in them positions, his physical presence will dominate. I think as wider, I don't think it's always as comfortable for him to dribble and drive, but in regards to his impact, he can still have a massive impact because given the ball in tight areas, he's able to manipulate himself out of there.
Well, it was inevitable, wasn't it, that Erling Haaland would be on the score sheet today. Rachel, he got the second goal today. It's not a question of is he going to score, it's when is he going to score at the moment.
Yeah, simple as that. I mean, I can't really see how you stop him. He's got everything, and the fact that he's been that missing piece for Manchester City. They've not had an out-and-out focal point of a number 9. This time, his first one from outside the box in a long time. His first one for City from outside the box. Great that he picks the ball up and run. You know, the defender does nothing other than help Erling Haaland in that bit of a scuff finish, but it's on target.
Yeah, it was August 2021 he last scored from outside the box, Jolien.
Again, remarkable. It's inevitable. And when you go down 1-0 so early, you're thinking, Haaland hasn't scored yet. So you're thinking he's going to score. So all of a sudden now it's 2. They've scored 2, so you're going to have to score multiple goals to get anything out of the game. But in terms of his tally, what he's up against, Rio said early in the season he wasn't going to get 35. So.
Colin Shearer, 34. That was a 42-game season, though, there. And Mo Salah up there as well with 32. But
listen, he's on the right track.
What do you think he's going to get?
A number, Rio. We want a number.
I'm saying 35-ish. Listen, the guy's he's got the ability to break records because he's in a team as well that's absolutely dominating. He's getting minimum one chance a half, it seems. Good chances, not talking about half chances, minimum like good chances a half. So he's a fantastic footballer, and the overriding factor, he's got the hunger and desire to go out there and want to do that.
What number do you put on it for the season for him?
I think he'll be a new record breaker because the combination of him being in a team that is, the core of them have been together for, a good number of years now, and that core have got better and better at finding each other, the likes of De Bruyne and Foden, who just look so beautiful together. The way they're playing is for purists is just wonderful to watch. So stick Haaland in, who was one of the best players in the world, and it's just he wouldn't want to be at a better team. He's got feeders all around him, putting the ball into the box exactly where he wants to be. He doesn't want to be kind of having to drop off to receive, to run at, although he did today and he proved he can do it. But yeah, I think he's going to break a new record again.
Definitely 11 in 7. He scored in his first 4 Premier League away games, the first player in history to do that. It's like every week we're talking about a new record he's broken. Do you think he's going to go on to break every single record going at this rate?
Listen, it's early. I don't know if he's here for the length of time it's going to take for him to say become the all-time Premier League goal scorer. But in regards to this season, I believe he sets a new record in terms of a tally. I think his capability to score the variety of goals he can and shown so far this season, I think complemented that with the lack of ability to defend them different variety of goals. I don't think there's a capability of defender now that can override all the powers that Erling Haaland has, where I think there was more capability when it was Andy Cole and Alan Shearer.
What about the Ballon d'Or? He's on the long list for the 2022 Ballon d'Or.
Yeah, I think this season's too early for him. I think. But I think he's going to... Well, the one coming, sorry. And I thought, he's in there. So, sorry.
Yeah, that could have been the meme.
It won't be long if it's not this season.
No. If he carries on this form now...
City win the Champions League.
City win the Champions League, there's no question. There won't be anyone else who can get near it because he's achieving numbers right now. He's head and shoulders above everybody else. And you know what? Sometimes it's not even about performance. He's affecting the game, that's it. You can talk about, he hasn't done this, he hasn't done that. No, he's only had this amount of touches. He scored all his third touch today after 15 minutes. He wasn't involved in the game. But again, we said before the game, he doesn't care about that. Give me the ball in front of the goal and I'll put the pressure on the goalkeeper. Can you save it or not? And invariably, the ball's going to the back of the net.
Yeah. Another good day for Erling Haaland today. It has been a tough day here at Molineux, though, for Wolves. Let's hear from the manager, Bruno Lage, with Des.
You must think that everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong in that first half for you.
First half, no. I think in the first minute, because when a team like them, they just play Wednesday night and they come here and the first minute they score one goal. It's hard to take. So I think even between the first and the second goal, we were there. We have the ball. In the transition, we score. They score the second goal. But I think the most important thing to say is even with the problems that we have in the beginning, the team have personality to play the game. So we try to come back to the second half with last man to try to equalize the numbers, put Daniel more in the middle to try to have a little bit more ball. I think we have it. First 20-25 minutes, we have that ball. Our plan is to try to score one goal and put 2-1 and put a little bit more pressure in the game. And I think after that, when they score, but I think that was our best moment in the game. After that, when they scored the 3-0, they finished the game. So when I think we come with a good plan to play against them, it's 11 against 11. It's hard when you have one last man. It's more hard, more difficult. But look, in the end, it's 3 points for them, and we just understand that the team are growing up. I think we can see good signals. It's to continue to work.
What did you say to Nathan Collins?
No, it's not about Nathan Collins. I didn't see the situation. Look, sometimes happen same situations in the Premier League. Even yesterday, I saw it one like that. It was, I think, Aston Villa game.
Against Southampton. Yeah.
Against Southampton, I see a situation like a player tried to play the ball, he didn't catch the ball, he catched the man, and nothing happened today. It was a red card. So it's to continue to play. Now, Ruben played very well. So it's amazing how how we can play as a centre back. We put him just to 5 minutes to try to understand, to don't change the team, to try to keep him as a centre back to have more the ball with the two midfielders. So we find a solution inside of the pitch. That's why we don't change any player for another centre back.
Thank you, Bruno.
Thank you.
One win for this season. Another couple of games as well for them after the international break, with West Ham and Chelsea to come as well. How much patience do you think he's going to be afforded?
No, I think there's a lot. I think they're still performing well overall. Yeah, this game in isolation isn't a great 3-0, 10 men, but there's still areas that they can look at and be proud of this performance. But overall, he's done exceptionally well. Wolves play good stuff. We speak about them needing a striker, and now they've got multiple. Hopefully, when they're all fit, they're able to score goals that matches some of their performances.
You won't be happy as well with that second goal. What